I'm going to show you how I false shuffle into stack to completely convince the audience that the deck is in a real true state of random impossibility. But I'm very quickly going to tell you as well my overall thoughts on shuffling, or not shuffling as well, when it comes to Maxim. So I'll just quickly say this, and then we'll talk about the shuffling element, especially in the spectator's hands. You don't need to shuffle the deck for this effect. It's just as powerful in the way you frame it if you say, inside this box, there is a deck of cards. Before I left the house today, I shuffled that deck of cards and placed it into the box, and I sealed the box. You are going to hold on to this deck of cards. I'm never going to touch them. That is an option which is just as powerful as having them shuffle the deck. It's a personal choice. It doesn't change the feeling of impossibility to the audience or not. I think maybe the shuffling can sometimes be a magician thing. I do like to have them shuffle the cards after they see me shuffle the cards, or shuffle the cards. But to frame it as here is essentially a pristine prediction that will not be messed with is also a good option. So if you're really, really uncomfortable with playing cards, if you have zero experience with playing cards and you've never held a deck before in your life and you just want to do Maxim, and equally, there's no pros or cons really to either or. It is to just take the deck in the box, or even hand them the deck, let them take it out of the box, say, look, spread the deck, make sure they're shuffled. I did shuffle them before I left the house, but have a look, make sure they're just not in a certain order, place them back in the box, and of course they are in stack order, by the way. But that whole framing of, look, we're never going to touch them, they are isolated, and you're going to hold on to them inside that box, that's just as strong as shuffling, okay? So if you have zero skill level, do that. I often do that. I will chop and change between either having them shuffle or shuffle the deck, or just going straight to that. The only thing I'll say for either or is that if they are in the box and no one shuffles them, the effect is a much quicker effect, which can be good if you want a quicker opener type effect, or it can be bad if you want to play it out and make it a bigger piece. It's just completely preference choice. But yeah, the whole shuffling moment, that can just build the routine out. And as we know, sometimes you don't just want a routine to be over in seconds. You want to make it feel as big as it is, because it is a big effect. So it's completely your discretion, but if you have zero, completely no skill with cards, or you don't trust your audience, maybe you perform at a bar where people are super drunk all the time, then just keep the deck in the box. Say, look, this is shuffled before I left the house. I am never going to touch them. That is just as impossible. Now I'm going to quickly show you how I shuffle into stack. So this is how to faro into stack. You would get your deck and faro it like this, and that's now in a stack. Really simple. What you do is, depending on what stack you use, you can use a random stack like this or anything like Mnemonica, is before you begin, take every other card and strip them out of the deck. So up jog them like this, and just remember the bottom card that's up jogged. So you go through the entire deck, one by one. Remember, for me, it's the 10 of spades. Whatever one it's going to be for you, that'll be your remembered card. And it takes 2 seconds before you perform with your stack. You take them all out and drop the deck on top there. Now, when you come out, all you need to do is spread through, find that 10 of spades, or in this case, I like to just riffle up the back of the deck until I find it. And then you're going to do a faro shuffle, okay? And making sure that it's I think they call it an in faro. You make sure that the 10 of spades basically goes behind the jack. So as long as you get it perfect, or essentially perfect, just like that, then they will now be shuffled into exactly the same order. But from a layman's point of view, you've taken a deck out of the box, you've shown them up close that it's shuffled in a shuffle which they know is real, and they are now in stack. What I like to do is to throw in a verbal convincer, is that when I'm doing it, I put it in. I'm going to destroy my stack now, but just to demonstrate, I say it doesn't even matter if the faro's not perfect, when in reality I'm making sure that the faro is perfect, but I throw in there, oh, it doesn't even matter if there's a couple of cards not off. They are, but they don't get a chance to really examine it, and I cover it a little bit, so it doesn't even matter if there's a couple of cards off, as long as they're really shuffled well. If you're not comfortable doing pharaohs like this, so if you're not comfortable doing them perfectly, this is a fun thing which you can do, which comes from a game that I play with my friends, or a prank that I play on my friends at Magic conventions, or whenever we meet up, is if you take a deck in stack, flip half over. I do it when they go to the toilet and they leave their cards on the table. If you shuffle them face up into face down, it creates a triumph position, right? And normally do this, and I put their cards back on the table and flip like the top card over, or put them back in their box, and when they got to perform for another person, it's a real mess. However, if you do it with a stacked deck, the deck is actually still in order when you take the cards out. So before you perform, you can actually do it to yourself, triumph yourself, put the cards in the box, and go to perform, right? Don't do a card trick with this deck until you're going to do Maxim. Bring it out. So can I? Hey guys, nice to meet you. I'm Lloyd, your magician. Can I show you a piece of magic? Oh, great. I'm going to show you something with my deck. Ah, great. And then you explain. This is great. Pardon me. My friends do this as a prank all the time. Every time I leave my cards unattended, they think it's hilarious to shuffle them like this. Or you can say if I've got kids, my kids, or my wife, or my partner, my husband, they play this prank on me. And the thing is, this looks really shuffled. This looks awful, and it's embarrassing a little bit, and they feel bad for you. Oh God, they've shuffled his deck up. Once you split them, do that. Congratulations, you're now in stack. But it's an organic thing. If you especially like if you're in a casual coffee situation or a bar situation with friends, it's not a paid gig, it's no pressure. You come up and you do it that way. Again, it completely fail safe. There's no way of not getting like the pharaoh perfect because you're just taking them out and put them on top. And it's got a funny story to it. People can see you're a normal person, you have a life, and you get away with it. And what you're secretly doing is putting them into stack. The last thing you can do is you can actually couple both of those methods up. So you can out-jog your stack, and just for the sake of saving time, I'm not going to do it, but you out-jog all half of the cards like we did earlier. This half you take and you shuffle it into this half, and then you bring the cards out. Oh no, this is so embarrassing. My friends think it's hilarious to, every time I leave my cards on the table, this is so frustrating, they shuffle them face up into face down. Brilliant. Let me just do this really quickly. So I'm going to take these out. Oh, I'm so annoyed at my friends. Take them out and say, perfect. Now I'm going to take them out, get the deck, find that card again, the two of spades, wherever it was. There, I'm going to cut back at that two of spades. Sorry about that. Sorry, right, let me give them another shuffle. Just one more shuffle. Make sure they're really, truly mixed up. This time I do a perfect pharaoh, and they are now back in stack. So it looks like you've been pranked, or your kids have just, messed with your cards. They've shuffled them face up to face down. But really you've taken that, it's called an anti-pharaoh sort of position. You anti-pharaoh before you began, shuffle them face up face down. You're unmixing them and then pharaoh them into stack. I'm sorry, your audience just have no hope trying to backtrack. So couple some of these suggestions with the thoughts I'm about to tell you. So now that you know how to shuffle into stack, if you can do the pharaoh shuffle, it's super, super easy. If you can't do the pharaoh shuffle, then having the triumph setup is also just as easy, in fact, self-working. But what you need to do now, if you want to have the spectator shuffle the deck, is you're going to use a bit of language manipulation because they are going to shuffle the deck, but you're going to really have them believe that they shuffled it more than they did. So, to a spectator, first of all, they don't know the stacks exist, the majority of them, unless it's in new deck order. So even just starting to show the deck as shuffled and then having them cut and complete the deck, that, to all intents and purposes, is a shuffled deck. You can also frame it this way, which is my good friend Brazen Magic, who you see in the trailer. He has them choose the amount of cards they want to move from top to bottom behind their back or under the table. He says, do you want to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many you want, take them and count them to the bottom, which is actually still retaining the order. Why this is nice is because when it comes time to revealing their card, you can say to them, look, You made every single minute decision. You chose whether to move 1 card, 2 card, 3 card, 4 card. If you had moved 1 card less or 1 card more, your card right now would be in a completely different place. Is that true? And they can very easily understand that, and they believe they're shuffling the deck, even though it's been kept in a new deck order. So one really simple way is just to have them count 1 by 1 card. Say, take cards behind your back and decide, do you want to move 1 card, 2 cards, and if it's 5 cards, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And keep doing this. Do it over and over. Use random numbers every time so the deck is in a completely different order every single time. That is completely fail-safe. Unless somebody is really like drunk or is a complete idiot, then in which you just use the in-the-box method, same effect, then you can use that. When it comes down to language manipulation, I'll talk to you now about the cutting thing. I begin by saying there's sort of like 3 types of shuffles. And the first thing I do, and this is optional, and I can't teach you because it's not mine, is I say there's the shuffle, which is like the intermediate level, which most of us do at home in home games, is to take the deck and give them like a shuffle like this into a random order. Now that's a false shuffle. That's the Truffle Shuffle by Derek DelGaudio. There's similar shuffles out there like the Heinstein Shuffle. Anyone knows that, or the Heinstein Shuffle, which you can learn on downloads in different places, then use that. I'm just showing you what you can do to amplify this routine, right? So you can say there's the intermediate shuffle, and you can do that. Then you say there's the pro shuffle, and you do the faro that we just learned into stack. So taking it at the right spot and faroing it. See this, and then there's the pro shuffle, right? So you're in that starting setup. You do the optional Truffle Shuffle if you know it, which remains the stack in the same order. There's the intermediate shuffle. This is the pro shuffle, which I've gotten fairly good at over the years. And I throw in a tip, which is to say, it doesn't even matter if it's perfect as long as they're sort of in, even though it does matter if it's perfect. And you say, and then there's the sort of easier shuffle, which is still shuffling the cards, but it makes sure that you're not going to drop them in all the water on the floor and ruin them, which is just to, if you see, look, there's the 3 of clubs on top and the 9 of spades on bottom. When you're cutting complete, now they're in a different order, there's different cards on top, different cards on bottom. You do that under the table and just start shuffling like that. And it's that verbiage of shuffling. So it's not cutting and completing, it's shuffling the deck. But what's important is all the psychology around this. Is you've shown them an optional first shuffle, like this, or if you know a false overhand shuffle, you can say that's the intermediate shuffle, because that's a false overhand shuffle. You just cut half, run 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, swap the halves and run 5 again, right? So you can use that instead of the Truffle Shuffle. But they think that to them, that's shuffling the deck. And the one thing I do is I don't get them to focus on it. I say we all know shuffles. There's the sort of intermediate shuffle, which we all sort of do at home games, and they go everywhere. And I'm keeping my eye contact with them as I do it. I'm not really letting them burn it. Then I say there's the pro shuffle, where now I bring them all in and I let them watch that false, well, it's a real faro shuffle. They've now just seen 2 really hardcore shuffles. And the very next thing you do is hand them the deck and they start mixing it themselves. Good night. Good night. Unless you have a magician that knows about all this stuff, you've overproved it. Even doing the faro into stack is overproving. Even just letting them cut and complete it is overproving, because as we know, putting the deck in the box and just saying, look, no one's going to touch that, they're just in a shuffled order. Remember what the outcome is going to be. They're going to name a card, and it's going to be at a position which is meaningful in some way to them, whether it's the date, the card they name, whatever. That's miracle. But if you want to go and add these extra layers of deception in as you improve, or if you can already do it all, then so be it. I personally like to do it. I think it's kind of like just something for me out of the trick, just to get away with it. Doesn't really matter, but you can if you want to. But from their point of view, this is a shuffle deck. This is a shuffle deck. If they had a $10 million bet everything you've ever earned in your life on the line, and they would say, right, that guy there has let you shuffle the deck. Is it a shuffle deck, or is that deck in an order? I'm pretty certain, unless they were just playing their chances, everyone in the world is going to say, yeah, that's a shuffle deck. But it's all in your attitude, right? So when you first start, if you say, look, we all know these shuffle, and you're making eye contact, you're really casual, you're not showing skill. Don't show that you can do Sybil cuts and everything like this, right? I can't do them very well. It's all your attitude. If you're casually just doing it, say we all know these homes shuffle, and when they get the cards in a mess, and we always drop them or bend the deck. There's the pro shuffles, which like this doesn't matter if it's perfect, and then there's the easy ones, so we just don't make sure that there are always different cards on top and bottom every time if you do that, so we don't drop them. See how I'm not focusing on me being good? See how I'm not focusing on being static with it and doing all this fancy stuff at all? I'm just very casual, very don't care. And the reason I'm having them cut the deck like that is so that they don't drop them or ruin them or get them in water patches on the floor and things. I'm just trying to look after my property, just have them sort of show a bit of respect to your things. And if you do it and sort of frame it that way, then it's not about the deck being shuffled. And remember, even all of that is kind of a bit of over-proving. So consider not doing the false shuffles. It's just, I think it's, a lot of us do enjoy doing it. I know a lot of you do enjoy doing it. I personally enjoy doing it. But we often think as magicians, it's like the whole signing of a card thing. Spectators don't know what that is. And most times that's not the convincer for them. It's normally like the little dog-eared corner or the tear that's accidentally on the card that convinces them. Signing objects is a magic thing. Over shuffling or over false shuffling is also a magician thing. So just keep it in mind. Don't have to do false shuffles. And if you do, these are the ones that I do, and these are my thoughts on it. And again, it's just that verbiage of not saying cutting complete, but showing them that this is, after shuffle, the third shuffle, I'm doing it like this, and I'm showing them the cards are different on top and bottom every time, new order. And as they're doing it, I just say, keep shuffling. What's nice is when they're under the table behind their back, if anyone comes into the party, the party of people that you're in, at a different time, like actually you see in one of the performances with Javier, somebody is overlooking the picnic bench table, and Javier's talking about the film, the number 23 with Jim Carrey in, and some guy behind says, I've seen that movie. If he's been shoulder surfing at any point while they're shuffling cards, now you can see how that plays, because if he knows anything about cutting completing decks, which most people really don't understand how a cut and complete cycle works, in his mind he's pictured them all as doing shuffles like this. So to him, one more notch up that ladder of impossibility. And yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I've probably spoken a bit too long on my ideas on thoughts on false shuffles. And again, shuffling into stack, Pharaoh into stack isn't my thing. I think it's probably been published 1,000 times before. It's just what I choose to do. But yeah, go off and think about, experiment, maybe A/B split test it. Go off and try one version in the box, try one version just Pharaoh in, try one version where you Pharaoh, then let them do it. Try different ways, see which gets the best impact for you, which feels right for you, which fits your timing of your performance right, and just enjoy it.